I'm sure if you've been watching Brisbane racing over the past few months, you've enjoyed very much watching Georgina Cartwright ride here in Brisbane. She, of course, completed her apprenticeship with Tony Gollan. She joins us in the studio tonight. So thanks for joining us, Georgie.
Thanks for having me.
I suppose you get Georgie, Georgina, G,
I get a mix of everything. George or Georgie is fine.
Yeah, terrific. And how long have you now been in Brisbane?
About 3 months now, just over 3 months, and I'm really enjoying my time so far.
You certainly sort of hit the ground running, didn't you?
Yeah, obviously I'm coming up to Tony Gollan. He's been a great help, and just come out of my time last week. So obviously it's a pretty hard transition from an apprentice to a senior, but I'm willing just to work as hard as I can and make the most of every opportunity.
Have you set yourself any goals because of that? We know that it is difficult to transition to the senior riders. What does the future look for you?
I haven't really got any main goals. The main thing is I just want to try and broaden my clientele and try and sort of ride for different trainers and spread myself around. Like, I'm more than happy to go to sort of Millwillumbah and Ballina and stuff as well. So just trying to spread myself around and, as I said, make the most of every opportunity.
You were born in Victoria and grew up mostly in Albury.
Yeah, in Albury-Wodonga. We grew up there, and I started riding the racehorses down there, and then I ventured over to back to Victoria. Before
we get to racehorses, Georgina actually grew up on at an animal sanctuary. What was it called?
It was called Edamoga Sanctuary, and then it got renamed and was called Aussie Wildlife, and it was in Albury, and my brother and I spent a lot of time there. My mum managed the sanctuary, and it was good. Every day we'd go there after school, and then on the weekends we'd work there and you know, help feeding the animals and just general sort of cleaning up duties.
So before you picked up horse poo, you picked up koala poo.
Yeah, and there was fairy penguins there, and
wow.
You know, just kangaroos as well. So
what a childhood!
It was great. We got a good insight into sort of helped us, you know, learning to work, and we had sort of from a young age. My mum brought us up always having to work, and I think it helped us now. We both have very good work ethics.
Yeah, your brother Josh Cartwright was a jockey. I think he's riding work for Chris Waller in Sydney at the moment. You guys, did you have a horse racing background at all when you were growing up?
No horse racing background. My mum always had horses, but my brother and I didn't really show any interest in horses really till we were about 11 or 12, and then my mum wasn't too happy when we told her we wanted to get a pony. Obviously ponies and horses are very expensive, so we managed to get a pony, and we both shared it for about 6 months or so, and then we kept fighting over it, and we managed to get another one, and we just grew up doing pony club and then sort of ventured into eventing, and my brother Josh just decided while he was at school just to learn to ride track work before school. So then he just decided to be a jockey. He was always quite tall, so he was always going to struggle with his weight. And then when I finished school, I decided to do accounting and go to uni. So worked in an accounting firm for a couple of years and did 2 years of that. And after about a year of that, I just wanted, you know what it's like when you're at uni, you're sort of struggling for money. So I thought, you know, I'd write a little bit of track work before uni to earn a little bit of extra money, and yeah, I just loved it. The first time I did a gallop, I remember being at that day I was in a meeting, and all I could think about was, you know, the gallop, and all I had done was evens, but to me it felt so fast. And you know, it took a lot of persuasion with my parents to let them sort of for them to let me go down to Geelong and start my apprenticeship with Jamie Edwards, and my brother was down there at the time, and he pretty much taught me everything I know.
That is extraordinary. See, we are breeding more brighter jockeys these days. Ones with degrees, Maxie.
Yeah, but Georgina was looking at the figures, and to be a successful jockey, you can make a lot of money. It's coming up to your 5th anniversary. I think the 20th of December, was it? 5 years ago you had your first ride?
Yeah, my first ride, I was actually meant to have my first ride at Colac races, and I was so excited. I had like 3 rides, I think, and it was actually 42 degrees, so they called off the races. So that was a little bit of a letdown, but I had my first ride at Bendigo on a horse called Canali for Stephen Brown. It had 64 kilos, so I had like a massive 6 kilo saddle on it.
How'd he go?
I'm pretty sure he ran 4th. But, you know, it was a good thrill. And
Stephen Brown, I mean, he's so good with the apprentices and giving them confidence and that sort of thing, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And Canali was an older horse as well, so I pretty much just sat there and he sort of did everything for me. And, yeah, it was great.
So how did you think, you obviously slotted into Queensland really well, and Tony Gollan has a really high opinion of you, and as we all do, you look so balanced when you ride your horses out.
It's been sort of, obviously, my apprenticeship was quite a long apprenticeship. It was 5 years, and as I said, my brother's helped me a lot with, you know, with my riding, and obviously being in Victoria, we have quite a intensive sort of apprentice program. And
it's a great academy, isn't it?
And there's sort of the likes of Darren Gauchi, and there was Matt Pumper there for a while, and Elf Matthews that, you know, really help us with our riding and sort of perfecting our style.
Did it take you long? I was just going to ask whether it took long for you, Georgie, to get that first winner.
It was my 6th ride.
Yeah.
And it was at Warrnambool. It was a horse that I rode work every morning down at Geelong, and it was for Alan Hunter. And it was Rosa Texas was his name, and I still keep in good contact with Alan Hunter. And I think he might have paid about 60 to 1 that day. And watching that back now, you know, it's come a long,
she
come a long way.
One behind the saddle.
I actually think you look really good for a beginner.
Yeah, yeah, he's now off eventing, and it's good to see him have another life after racing. But that day was one of the best days in my career so far. You know, your first winner, you never forget.
And this is him jumping.
Yeah, that's him now. He's out eventing, and it's really nice to see that he's doing something else now.
He still looks as fit that he could race, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was a lovely ride.
Terrific. So how did you feel like you settled into Tony Gollan's? Because it's a big stable. Was that the biggest stable you'd worked for?
Yeah, I was actually at Lindsay Park for 3 months down at Euroa early on in my apprenticeship. But yeah, it was a bit different here, obviously, than what I'm used to in Victoria. It's a lot more faster pace up here, track work, you know, a bit more rush than where I was at Caulfield, and we sort of used to just, you know, take our time.
Amble out.
And, yeah, you know, long walk to the track, whereas here at Eagle Farm, it's quite a short walk out to the track, and the horses are worked a lot more quickly, and it's a lot more, you know, you finish a lot earlier, which is good because you beat the heat.
And Georgie, the Jockeys room up here in Brisbane, it's a little bit like home away from home for you. There's a lot of Victorians in the room these days. Yeah,
everyone's been really welcoming in the Jockeys room, and as you said,
Steph,
a lot of Victorians are here. Steph Thornton and Chris Caserta and Michael Rodd and Ryan Maloney. So they've they've all been very welcoming, and you know, I couldn't have asked for a better time here so far.
Miss Catherine was your first stakes winner. That's always a big thrill, isn't it?
Yeah, she's one of my favourite horses, and it was especially special to me because I had done a lot of work on her, and she had a few barrier issues early on in her career, and it was really good to you know, get that win because it was a non-claiming race as well, and it was for my boss at the time, Henry Dwyer, and the owners, Tony and Joe Bongiorno, had been very loyal to me for keeping me on.
Terrific. And you've had a stakes winner here as well in Needorp.
Yeah. As I said, Tony's been really great to me since I've been up here, and you know, she's been she did a good job from coming from the outside barrier and doing work early, and still being able to finish off like that.
Now you've got a big job to do on Saturday, Georgia. You're riding a horse called Advance Warning. Now, he's been really good to his connections, the Huddy family. I think he's won about 5 races, but is he a bit different, this horse?
Yeah.
Maxie, he's quirky.
I'm trying to put it quite nice as I can.
Yeah, if you watch some of his previous replays, even from last prep, you know, he loves to sort of get on one rein and can sort of run off the track a little bit. But this prep, I've ridden him both runs this prep, and he seemed to be racing very generously. And his
last start, wasn't he?
Very good last start. He was definitely an eye catcher late. It just was a little bit unlucky. I couldn't really get out till late, but he was finishing off strong, and the step up in distance looks perfect for him in third up.
And you recently took part in the BRC Summer Racing Legends, of course, raising money for for Abby, and you're riding in the Ride for Abby colours on Advance Warning as well.
Yeah, I've heard that she's designed her own colours, so I'm really looking forward to riding in them and seeing the colours. From what I've heard, they're pretty bright.
Yep. You won't miss them.
You won't miss them. They're great. What did you think of Summer Legends? How did you think your performance was, without giving anything away?
Yeah, I think we were
pretty good.
You know, pretty slow early. We were sort of like quiet achievers, and yeah, you know, I think we were better for the run the first round, and we could only improve from then. So yeah, you'll have to wait and see.
I think Will Holbert was on your team as well, and he's got his chest out at the moment. He thinks he was pretty good. He was thinking that he was leading the charge on your team for Calora.
Yeah, we had a really good team, and I was probably the least athletic out of the four of us.
No.
But you know, we got. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see
what did you think of some of the others? Like, what did you think of Bailey?
Did you see
Notice?
Bailey? Yeah.
I was actually surprised Bailey wasn't as athletic as what he looks.
Well, he was telling everyone that he was a superstar. Right?
Yeah, I know, but it was a bit of a surprise, and I was actually surprised how athletic Tony was.
Well, yes. We're going to have a look at that.
You've got to say
later.
the right things.
Yeah. Well, we can't thank you enough for joining us. It's been really interesting to learn about your background and particularly growing up on the animal sanctuary, but more so, obviously, your transition from apprentice to senior rider, and we think you're doing an awesome job and wish you all the best this weekend with Advance Warning.
Thanks for having me.
All right, there she is, Georgina Cartwright. What a treat to have her here in the studio.